Economy. I'm Maitreyi Sitaraman. Technology sure makes life easier in a world that seems to be perpetually on the go. Automation makes it cheaper for us to produce things and makes life easier, but it also raises the ultimate question. Will robots end up doing all our work? And what will be our role as contributing members of society and our economy? Just like this escalator, it's been a steady progression of how we work since the start of the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century. From initial worries about job losses, we moved to automation, mass production, the rise in global demand and therefore job creation, and the rise of the middle classes. We are now in the fourth phase of that industrial revolution and of work, and it's really up to us all to decide how we put aside our fears and what step to take next.
To do their job, 7 in 10 workers in Europe need some digital skills. But 1 in 3 don't have any, while half of Europeans in low-skilled occupations don't use technology at all. 9% of developed world jobs are at a high risk of becoming automated, with 1 in 4 jobs dramatically changing for a digital world, pushed by productivity growth expected with automation and robots. But 4 out of 10 companies can't find people with the right skills to fill the jobs being created. Closing the skills gap is critical for Europe's 4 million unemployed youth and those working part-time. They have few chances to upskill compared to people with full-time jobs, and those with no digital skills at all also earn 8% less per hour than those that do. The highest risk of losing a job to technology is now in countries that didn't invest in it in the past.
In every revolution, there are winners and losers, and of course, there will be job losses in repetitive middle skill work. But for lots of people, this is a chance to reskill for higher-end jobs. Here at the European Commission, it's Marianne Thyssen's job to, along with all the other stakeholders, figure out just how to do that. Which occupations and which sectors, in a way, will be impacted most, and what about older workers?
We see that now in Europe, we have 232 million people at work. We have never had so many. The jobs of the future, let me say the jobs of today and tomorrow, 90% of those jobs will require a certain level of digital skills, while we see that more than 40% of the European labor force don't have enough digital skills, so we have a lot to do there. We ask people to stay longer in the labor market, so we must make it possible that they stay. First, you have to assess what the skills people have. Secondly, what is an adequate pathway for them individually to make progress? And then, of course, to make it possible that they document their new attainments. But this is also possible for people that are, let me say, my age.
Well, we know technology creates infinite possibilities, and as we decide on what choices to make to shape our life and work, in Germany, they are reimagining the future with a program called Work 4.0. It deals with everything from working hours to good jobs, all the way to collective bargaining, with the understanding that technology waits for no one. So Damon Emling set out on a test drive to see how Audi and its employees are preparing for the future.
Don't be deceived by the old buildings. Germany is facing up to its high-tech future. As automation and digitisation herald the so-called fourth revolution, the government's leading a big conversation here, one which looks at satisfying the workforce of tomorrow, a generation which craves more choice and flexibility, far more than the 9 to 5.
Automation is everywhere at Audi's sprawling factory in Ingolstadt, north of Munich. Around 600,000 new cars are made here every year, each body created by 1,000 different robots. And the technology keeps coming. More digitalization, virtual reality and 3D metal printing are all on the cards. But the company says it won't be slashing its 44,000 on-site staff.
There will be big changes in the nature of work, but in the end, we will need all our employees like we do today.
They may go at a snail's pace, but these autonomous platforms being developed by a startup could further boost factory productivity. Transporting components to individual workstations, the disruptive technology does away with the traditional production line.
Just imagine you're a big mall where you have like 50 different stores. Well, whilst the normal assembly would bring you through all the stores, our approach only brings you in those stores where you actually need something, so you're finished way earlier.
Amid all this change, Germany's Work 4.0 strategy talks of a new social compromise across industry. More work-life balance for staff, something this carmaker sees as good for business and loyalty.
Jobs are already digitalised, in particular in the offices. We also implemented mobile working. Now we're introducing flexible working hours in shifts, which is part of a pilot project.
Business experts reckon the social change will be revolutionary as we juggle increasingly hectic lives.
I don't think everyone is ready yet. It's a slow transition, but as technology moves forward and the awareness becomes, I think it will be a quick transition. I think this is going to be a game changer and it's going to be fantastic.
The productivity gains of technology are clear. The challenge for all employers is to ensure future staff are skilled up and stick with them, thanks to that social compromise.
Still with us is Commissioner Marianne Thyssen. Robotics, artificial intelligence, all leads to fears that it's going to exacerbate economic inequality. How do you prevent that?
We must ensure that people, once they work, have good working conditions. Also, in this new digital era, people that work for platforms, are they a worker? Who is protecting them? Are they self-employed? It's not clear. And we must also ensure that everybody is in a social security system so that they have a scheme where they contribute to a system where they are entitled to certain benefits when conditions are fulfilled.
What kind of structural changes do you think will be needed?
We are preparing now the final launch, let me say, of this pillar of social rights with some principles and values that can serve as a reference framework to screen the performance of national, social and labour market policy, but also European policy.
Where's the stumbling block and how do you overcome it?
I am an employer, a worker, I am an employer, I am self-employed. We know where we are and we belong to, but we have new kinds of work and we have to define them, to give them a place in our social protection system, in our economic system. And this will ask reorganizations of the structures in the member states, and we can help with that from Europe.
Where does the onus lie in terms of preparing for the future? Is it with us as individuals, with governments, with policymakers, employers?
We have responsibility at all sides. We have to adapt. We have also to take our own responsibility, but it's up to the politicians, to those who have political responsibility, to create an environment to make that possible.
Commissioner Thyssen, those are wise words indeed. Thank you for your time and thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.